My name is Danial Saeed, and today my question of presentation is critical comparison of the carrier's duties and immunities under the Hague Visby rules, Hamburg rules, and Rotterdam rules. Now I will start my answer that the Hague Visby rules applies only to the contracts that are evidenced by bill of lading. This is given in Article 1, while the Hamburg rules apply to the all sort of contracts which are related to the carriage of good by sea, and this is given in the Article 2 of Hamburg rules. Now moving to the documents which are needed the both rules to apply. If we discuss about the Hague Visby rules, as I mentioned before that it is a principle that the Hague Visby rules only apply when a bill of lading or the if the bill of lading the similar documents covers the contract of carriage by sea, but in the case of Iran it can be seen that the Hague Visby rule will still apply if it is just foreseen if a bill of lading if a bill of lading it is just foreseen a bill of lading will be issued to in future, if but in fact it is not issued when the contract is made. But if we compare to the Hamburg rules, it can be seen that it applies to the contract of carriage and not applies on the documents such as bill of lading. Now we will compare the type of cargo on the both rules. It will be applied. Hague Visby rules according to the Article 1C. Hague Visby rule are applicable to all kinds of cargo except animals and deck cargo. Now, if we talk about the deck cargo, the deck cargo, the Hague Visby rule does not apply, but it should be clearly stated in the bill of lading that a mere liability on the carrier will not mean that the carrier can be excluded for the rules, as given in the case of maritime agency. In this case, the bill conferred a liability on the carrier to show the cargo on the deck. When the cargo was lost, the carrier tried to exclude his responsibility, but it was held that on the bill of lading, it was just a liability on the carrier to show the cargo on deck. So, but in fact, the goods did not have to carried on the deck. Thus, the carrier was held liable. While in the terms of cargo related to live animals, the carrier can negotiate with the shipper. Now, moving in the Hamburg rule, they apply to cargo including live animals. Uh, uh, now, while according to Hamburg rule, the carrier can carry the goods on deck, but this should be included in the bill of lading. In the cargo is in the car If the cargo is dangerous, then the shipper cannot ship the dangerous products without bringing the knowledge of the carrier. The shipper can liable for any loss or damage caused by the cargo, but in according to Hamburg rule, he needs to fulfill three requirements, in which includes for the number one is he should inform the carrier. Number two is the goods are dangerous. If the goods are dangerous, and it should be mentioned on the cargo that the cargo is dangerous, and it should also mention in the bill of lading. Now, moving on the period of the coverage, the Hague Visby rules only applies on the contract of goods are loaded till the time they are discharged, while it is totally opposite in the Hamburg rule, as Hamburg rule covers the contract from the point loading to the port till the port of discharge. This means that in the Hamburg rule, the carrier is responsible for the goods even before goods are loaded in the ship, and thus carrier has more responsibility on him as compared to the Hague Visby rules. Now we will compare the carrier duties and liabilities of both rules. Under the Hague Visby rules, it is the duty of the carrier to make seaworthy, to supply the and equip the ship and install parts in the ship so that the goods can be stored in the ship properly. And this all is given in the rule 2 of Hague Visby rules. Under the Hamburg rule, the carrier is liable for the loss and damage if these are under the under his charge. Now we will discuss the immunities provided both the rules, and we will make a conclusion that which rule provide more and better immunity to career. As I mentioned that under the Hague Visby rule, the Hague Visby rule provides a lot of exceptions through which they can take immunity in case if the goods are lost and damaged. For example, if the if the damages of the goods are done from unseaworthiness, then the carrier can exclude his liability if he can prove he exercised due diligence. As as in the case of Lancer size shipping, it was held that even though the carrier had hired reputable repairs and the loss we caused because the repairer had not done his job properly. The court held that the carrier will be liable as it is the duty of the carrier to ensure due diligence that the ship is seaworthy and not due diligence in the hiring carriers. If we compare this with Hamburg rule, it is seen that the Hamburg rule does not provide a lot of exceptions to the carriers as there are only three exceptions provided by Hamburg rule, which are live animals, deviation and the fire. In case of live animals, under Hamburg rule, according to Article 5, subsection 5, if the carriers can prove that he followed every special instruction of the shipper and the loss was caused by some special risk, then he can exclude his liability. Now, moving to the deviation, according to Article 5, subsection 6, the carrier is not liable if deviated to save life at sea or to save property at sea, but he will be liable for all the loss that occurs after the deviation. Now if we compare it with a huge now if we compare with the Hague Visby rules, the carrier will not be liable to for deviation if the deviation takes place to save life or property at sea. And and now I'll come to the second point, which is the fire. And in the situation of fire, the carrier has to prove that he and his servants took all the measures to avoid the incident, then they can exclude his liability. In situations if a civil suit against a carrier should be brought, it should be done in 1 year time, while in Hamburg rule the time limit is 2 years. Under the Hague Visby rule, the liability of loss and damage is approximately triple 6.67 SDRS, and in the case of Hamburg rule, it is 835 SDRS approximately. Thus, now I'll come to the conclusion of my presentation that the Hamburg rule provides very less immunity to the carriers and works in favor of shippers' interest. And for and for the carrier, Hague Visby rules are better rather than Hamburg rules, and these both rules provide protection to the carriers and the shipper, because Hague Visby rules provide a lot of protection to the carrier, as I mentioned before that the suits carrier more.